Well, let's talk a little bit about your flight to and from Israel. The first thing you need to know, that no matter where you fly from, if you have a connecting flight, that last flight that takes you from that connecting city into the Tel Aviv airport, you will have a second security right there. No matter what you went through to get to that city, before you get on that last plane, you will have a security that's run by the Israelis. And believe me, no matter what you went through the first time, this will be a thorough security check. Let me say, relax in that. That means that airplane is going to be safe. These people are experts. They know what they're doing. I'm glad they do that. But there's a few things you need to know that will help you get through that time. First of all, don't talk too much. You'll have a tendency, because you're excited about the trip and they're asking you questions, that you'll just start talking. They want you to do that. But don't do it. Only answer the questions. Don't volunteer any information. You don't know if you might be raising red flags and not meaning to. Every trip, there's people that do that. They start talking. And it seems like every time they raise some issue that suddenly the people become concerned about. Listen, you're going as a tourist and you're going to enjoy your time over there. You're not a threat. So just answer the questions. Also, when they say, has someone given you something to take on this flight? They're not talking about your sister who is loaning you her camera. No. They're talking about a stranger who walked up and asked you to take someone on the plane, or even someone in your hometown who knew you were going who asked you. No. If you know the person, if they're a relative or a close friend, and you know they're not a terrorist, they're not talking about that. Had a woman one time that started to explain in great detail how her friend loaned her some culottes to wear while she was over there. And fortunately, the interrogator just started to hold back a smile, realizing this lady didn't understand. Don't volunteer too much information, and don't worry about what your relatives have given you to take with you. Now, every trip, there seems someone in the group has been targeted for what I call the shakedown. That's where they really interrogate you. If you're so fortunate to be that person on this trip, let me tell you a few things about it. First of all, enjoy the experience. We had people every time they come, oh my, I didn't know if I was going to make the flight. They just asked me all these questions, and I always say, but did you make the flight? Well, yeah. Were you on time? Well, yeah, but just barely. But you did make it. Yes. I said, that's all that you need to know. You made the flight. Believe me, they know when your flight leaves. And they don't want you to miss that flight. They will make sure you get on that flight. Because if they make you miss that flight, then they're going through a shakedown. They're going to have to find out reasons, because they got to start paying airlines and pay for tickets. And believe me, they want you on that plane if you are a legitimate tourist. So don't worry about it. They will do things like they will ask you a certain amount of questions. And then they'll come around and they'll ask you those very same questions a second time. Then they'll come around and ask you the very same questions a third time and maybe a fourth time. They'll just keep you going. What I do personally is I answer the questions, and then when they come around the second time, I answer the questions like it was the first time they asked. And I give them just as much detail as I did the first time. And when they come around the third time, I give them the same amount of details as I did the first and the second time. Every time I do that, the interrogator starts, they realize what I'm doing. I'm enjoying myself, and I'm not getting upset. I'm not getting mad. That's what they want me to do, and I refuse to do it. I enjoy it. We had one young lady who came And she was interrogated twice, coming and going. When she was coming to Israel, she got all flustered and didn't know what was going on and what's happening. But when I explained everything to her, and it happened that she was targeted going home, she just relaxed, she smiled, she enjoyed the experience, and she sent me an email. She says, you know, that was such a great experience once you're mentally prepared for it. Well, on the flight, map out your time. Try to calculate what all is going to happen. It is a long flight. You're going to be on that airplane for a long time. Some of the things that will happen is that you will be shown a movie, you'll have meals, possibly you'll have a book that you'll take to read, you'll have a chance to tell your story. Map out your time. Realize what's going to happen and figure out how much time am I going to do each thing and try to fill all of it. If you do this, the time will go easier and you just won't be stuck on a plane. You'll have a plan. In that, make sure you have time for exercising. These long flights do things to your legs and your feet that make them swell. You need to exercise your ankles and your legs and your feet. Go online. There are some excellent websites that will tell you exactly what to do. We won't take time here. Just make sure that you do it, and you'll have a much better time. You'll be better able to walk. If you don't do it, that can stick with you for several days, and you don't want that. Exercise. Also, take this opportunity to tell your stories. Remember, the people that are next to you are bored as well. They're trying to find things to do, and they haven't mapped out their time like you have. Ask them, tell them what you're going to be doing. Tell them that you're going to Israel and you'll be telling certain Bible stories. And you say, yeah, I'd really appreciate it if I could practice on you. Oh, they'll be glad to listen to your stories. Every time people do this, it's a great experience. And they'll keep asking, tell me another one, tell me. And they'll go through all the stories you have and they say, don't you have any more? Well, I don't, but that person over there does. If you want to go listen to some more, you know, it's a great experience. You will help them and it'll help you. Also, if you have problems sleeping, you may want to consider taking a sleep aid, because sleeping is definitely one of the things that should be on your list when you map out your flight. Well, if you take account of these things, and if you are successful at going through all of the interrogation and the flight over and landing, then I'll see you in Jerusalem.